Uh,
Yes,
where's everybody joining from?
I'm joining from Saudi Arabia,
What part?
Khobar, the eastern province.
Oh, okay, great. Is it Samia or Samaya?
Yeah, Sammy, I'm joining from Tampa actually.
Okay, great. You're a student here?
Yes, PhD student.
Fantastic.
Wow.
And please tell me how to say your name. Is it Claude?
Clued, yeah.
Okay, Claude. Thank you for joining us all the way from Saudi Arabia. Manar, are you a student here or an alum? She's just a flower.
She just said on the chat that she won't be able to join on the audio, but she's listening.
Okay. Oh, alum. Fantastic. That's great. Oh yeah, we'll definitely give another 5 minutes for people to come in. What oh, hello. So, Claude, what did you study at USF?
So I studied a double major of global sustainability and entrepreneurship. It was a master's program, Master of Arts, back in 2015.
Oh, wow. So did you start a sustainability business?
Not yet. Currently in the private sector, just learning more about, rules, regulations, the changes that are happening in the country, as well as the upcoming vision in 2030. So a lot is changing. Um, so now I don't think for me is the right time for me to start my own business, but hopefully soon.
Yeah, that's great. I know there's the 2030 vision is big. I've seen a few videos on that talking about it. It's really exciting. Is everybody very excited there about it?
We're thrilled the ability of people, the youth, the vast movement that is happening. It's like what we were supposed to do in 300 years back. We're doing it now in 3 years. So you can imagine how vast it changes.
Yeah. No, that's a lot. It's cool. And Sammy, you're a doctoral student?
Yes, doctoral student in Tesla, which is teaching technology and education and second language acquisition.
Oh, wow. Interesting. Which languages are you teaching?
So my focus in my field in English,
Mm.
but I'm speaking Arabic. I've learned French. I'm not fluent, but my plan this summer to start Spanish because everyone speaks Spanish with me, and this is the good place to
Oh,
practice
yeah.
Spanish. So
Yeah, absolutely. Even Publix has a Publix sabor for Spanish speakers, for Latinos. Yeah, it's a
and
great place to immerse yourself.
I love the Spanish music too, so I want to understand what I'm hearing, you know.
I
Yeah,
have the same dilemma, Samia.
yeah.
Exactly.
What kind of Spanish language music do you like?
Honestly, I'm not the expert with the genre, but whatever makes me dance, I'm happy to listen to.
Okay. Okay, great. All right, we'll just wait one more minute. Let's see. Maha, where are you joining us from?
Hi, I'm actually joining you from Riyadh. I'm Khulud's colleague, and I look forward to her talk today.
Okay,
Of
wonderful. Thank you for supporting her.
course.
Thanks, Maha. I see Johara as well. Uh,
Oh yeah, Johara.
also,
Also your friend of yours?
yeah, they're,
Oh,
they're both my new colleagues. So recently I moved to Riyadh about
oh,
9 months ago, and I got to meet Maha, Johara, and the rest of the colleagues from my current company, and they're very supportive. I couldn't ask for better colleagues, honestly.
oh, that's wonderful. That's
Yeah.
really the best. When you spend so much time at work, you really want to have good relationships there. And yeah. Oh, we got hearts too. Nice. Okay, well, I'm going to go ahead and get started with just some basic information. I don't know how many of you have seen any of our information about the Global Networks Initiative. Has anyone here heard of it or seen anything about it?
I've seen a couple, I remember, but back then, I still try to keep up with the updates from you guys.
Thank you. Yeah. So basically, the idea is that we want to bring more people to the table. You know, we don't want to just introduce alumni to alumni or students to students. We want to introduce alumni to students. We want to introduce alumni to business owners. We want to introduce interns to alumni-owned businesses. So we really want to open things up. The traditional American alumni chapter is not always relevant for everyone, and especially for international populations. We have other things that we feel a lot more strongly about than we do like our alma mater, our school that we attended. So I think culture, music, food, all of those things, language, they all bind us in a way that can never really be broken. And we all have a shared experience of either living abroad or, you know, we have an international perspective. We have a global mindset, which is very different from some of our other alumni. And that's why we created the global networks, because we really wanted to offer something of value to our global citizens. And a lot of us move all the time, right? So Clue, you just moved, but we're very nomadic people. So for me, I've lived abroad a few times in different countries. So if I had wanted to, you know, engage in some kind of alumni group that was based on a city, that would not have really served me in my life because we need a system now that really grows every time that you move somewhere new rather than shrinking or severing your ties, right? So that's why we came up with the global networks, and that's one of sort of the hallmarks is that there are no boundaries, right? So we are connecting people that have either personal or professional ties to a particular place, but we're not limited to a particular place. So no matter where you live, how many times you move, you can be a member of USF Network Saudi Arabia. That's why we have you calling in from Saudi Arabia, calling in from different parts of the country, from the US. And a lot of our events like this have people calling in from multiple continents who are still interested in connecting with their peers from the university and from other people from their culture and their language and for advice, you know, for help, for networking, for business, for collaboration, for all of those things. So that's the general idea behind the global networks. One thing that I have to say that's really nice when we have these meetings, they're typically small. Everybody has a chance to say a few words, introduce themselves. And I tend to see a lot of new participants in these virtual events, which is really nice. So it's not like we had the same 5 people coming to every group. I'm meeting new people every time we do these events, which is really important. Aside from this virtual event, eventually I would love to see a large in-person event on the Tampa campus for the Saudi community and one in Saudi Arabia on an annual basis as well. And that's something that I would want to invite businesses to, business associations to, cultural organizations, student organizations, alumni, really bring everybody there for sort of the highest level like networking that you can imagine. So, with that, I'd like to welcome our very special guest, Claude. Thank you so much for agreeing to be in the meeting today and connecting with other alumni, connecting with our students. I think it's really important for any kind of community building that people have personal connections, you know, that you build those relationships. So I'd love to know a little bit more about you. You told a few of us who were on the line what you studied, but if you could maybe repeat, you know, when you came to USF, what you studied, and then we can go from there.
All right. Thank you, Vanessa, for this opportunity. I know it was maybe the last minute, but believe me, I miss USF يعني to the highest levels. So I came in 2015 first of all, to study for my master's degree. And when I first arrived, it was a scholarship for finance because I come from business school in human resource management bachelor's degree from Saudi. So at that time, me coming from an HR background, I'm not really good with finance and accounting. They're not my best friends. So I had to change my major. But unfortunately, at the time, sustainability was not approved to be a major that I could specialize in. Over the next semester, I had to switch my scholarship to be at personal finance, and then I had to work also at USF so that I could keep that standard, you know.
Wow, where were you working?
So I worked at the International Admissions Office with Sean Gilmore and the whole team over there just before.
He's just down the hall from me here. Now he's
Really?
here in our department.
Yeah, I was about to text him just before I started, but you know, time constraints. But tell him I say a big welcome and high greetings from us,
I will.
uh, family as well. And then I also had an internship at the facilities management at USF for my master's degree. So my studies were a double major in global sustainability and entrepreneurship. I graduated in spring 2018.
Thank you. And I'm very curious, how did you end up choosing USF? You know, how do you, as a Saudi student, how do you end up in Tampa, Florida?
So for me, it was a coincidence, actually. The first time I ever visited the US was Orlando. And we wanted to visit each theme park in Orlando and the area around it. So we found one that's an hour away, which is Busch Gardens. And we knew that it's the same owner as SeaWorld, and we've been to SeaWorld. So once we were at the traffic light just going to Busch Gardens, and then I saw from the window of the car that says USF. And ironically, I said to my family, imagine if I do my master's here, then I can go between breaks to have a ride and then go back to my class, you know?
A roller
So
coaster. Did you do that? Did you ever go from USF and go ride the roller
between breaks,
coaster?
though, not between breaks. But I did go, like we had a special discount over there, apparently, during haunted houses, Halloween and so on. Yeah, it was a very nice theme park actually. And it had all of these adult rides. So you don't feel like, you know, you're a kid. You're actually an adult riding these very high and scary roller coasters. So it was amazing. And then the following year, we had like an annual conference in Riyadh for all universities around the world to come in and participate, for students to apply for scholarships or to study on their own. And then I saw the small USF booth with Glenn Besterfield, and I approached him and we had a talk, and he was like, yes, we have a huge group of Saudis. And they tried to connect me with a few alumni that actually visited the conference as well. And I just took it from there. And my sister also joined after me, about after a semester
Oh, wow.
around that. Yeah.
Wow, that's great. Okay, so as a Saudi student and as an international student, what would you say your biggest challenge was while you were here?
Honestly, I think um, um, probably maybe the challenge was uh, staying connected maybe to what's going on in the Saudi network or club. Um, I had this idea of having the sororities just for students, not specifically for bachelors. And then over there, I learned that it's only for bachelors. So I encouraged my sister to enroll in one of them, and she did. But mostly, I think my time over there, it was very smooth. Me transitioning from finance to sustainability was the best choice I ever done, just to follow my passion, my dreams, even though it was at the time very difficult to sustain that standard, having the scholarship paying for most of the things. But I was very lucky to work and study at the same time, just to keep that, standard of living. Commuting was very easy for me. The buses were very, at the beginning, we had only one bus that goes, the C bus. Now I know that over the time, I think by my final year, we had two buses, one that just goes from the C route until to the Marshall Student Center. So that was just to imagine how huge the community was outside of the dorms as well. But honestly speaking, I don't think I faced like a huge challenge. It was very smooth. It was very enlightening to mingle with the different nationalities, religions, backgrounds. Like in my class, I had uh, people who are 80 plus and they're doing their masters. So I mean, that was one of the things that was very eye-opening. You don't have an age limitation for learning.
That's going to be me when I'm doing my PhD. I'm going to be, probably 70s is my guess. So, okay, well, that's great. Good to hear that you didn't encounter too many roadblocks or barriers. Um, I'm really glad you said the thing about the community though, because that is something that here at USF World we have noticed, and we talk about that engaging our graduate students is quite hard because they do not have the same resources that undergraduates do. They have a harder time joining communities, and they have much fewer choices when it comes to building a supportive network. But that's something we want to change. We're working on. Okay, now based on what you studied at USF and your time here, is there anything that you use today that benefits you today in your career that that's due to my time at USF, or that's what I learned at USF, or is there anything that's still like benefiting you today from that experience?
Honestly speaking, I think my experience by working there as well taught me a lot. So before I moved to the US, I did have an experience here in Saudi, but still working outside and studying really helped. So we used to have these arranged groups for us to meet and just exchange ideas on how to finish for example, the senior project. So our senior project was in one of my entrepreneur courses, was similar to Shark Tank. We had to pitch our ideas. We had to all align, know what to say. And each one of us came from a very different background. I never had Saudis in my classes, maybe just one. Most of them were international students and domestic students, but I think that really gave me a way to see how other people's might think, and two brains are better than one. So we had to meet more than once, us girls, to align on the idea. We had to learn how to negotiate and compromise between the ideas, which is the best that will actually give us an A plus. We all aimed for A pluses. And as people may know, you cannot have a C during master's degrees. It's B or above, that's it. If you get a C, then you're in big trouble. So us having to work, all of us, just to ensure that everyone gets the highest grade was very challenging, because we all come from different backgrounds. But I think the mingling between us, some of the classes that we had to do some kind of social activities for us to, break the ice between us, and just talk, about freely about any kind of topic, idea, and whatnot. So I really have that in mind until today. It's always better to pause, think, maybe shoot the idea with some of your peers or colleagues at work or at school, similar to Samia, and they might give you something better. Not everyone is trying out there to compete with you. They might try to actually help you. So yeah, I think this is one of the main takeaways from USF.
Okay, yeah, group work and really participatory, learning. That is something that's very different here from a lot of parts of the world. I have a couple more questions for you, but I want to open it up to see if anybody else on the call has a question for you.
Absolutely.
I wanted to
Everyone?
ask, I'm in the field of environmental science and I like sustainability, like that's a very big deal. And I love seeing how this is like present in all parts of the world. So I don't know if you could tell me a little more about like how is this sustainability aspect viewed in Saudi Arabia? Like how do you all work with it? I don't know, just interested like on it, bro.
Absolutely. And your good name?
Oh, sorry. Yes, it's not there. It's Tatiana. I work for USF World. A
All right.
student assistant there, yeah.
Yes. Nice to meet you, Tatiana.
Nice to meet you too, Blue.
Thank you. So, regarding your question, for me personally, I had to grow up passionately loving or, always on the run to know more about the environment, the good things for the environment. I used to volunteer a lot, so that's giving back to social and CSR. I love pets so much, so that's also part of the environment. Um, and so it's all kind of connected for you to be having an active role, I would say, even without a job. So I'm not just doing my job every day, it's actually a lifestyle. So sustainability has become a lifestyle for me. I try my best to limit single-use plastics, even though sometimes you would see it's still being sold here in Saudi. But nowadays we see a huge shift towards people using recyclable bags. Also, they're trying to introduce that if you get your own bag, if you don't get your own bag, then you're going to have to pay for a paper bag or a plastic bag, just like in California and other part of states. So that's one of the things. On another hand, the vision of 2030, which is going to change our economy, our employment rate, and also the active contribution from the private sector. This is all related to have financial, sustainable financial records. So the government does not rely just on oil or fossil fuels. It also has various now number of companies investing in new technologies, renewable energies, nuclear energy, as well as a new source for renewable energy. So all of that actually works together to achieve the 2030 vision. Nowadays, we see more the word sustainability, unlike 2015 when the cultural mission was like, no, what's that? We see it more around our ministries, our government entities, as well as private sector and the third sector, which is the nonprofit. We have a huge agenda for sustainability by 2030. And as of 3 or 4 years ago, people started really to, and companies as well, to commit to, an ESG standards, sustainability development goals from the UN. So each company would see which framework is actually fit for their business model. And then they would try to introduce initiatives in the ESG, and that would help in reporting their scoring. So Saudi now has few programs under the vision. We have the Saudi Green Initiative, which calls for planting more than 10 billion trees here in Saudi only. Why 10 billion? Because we are 1%, Saudi Arabia is 1% of the total population of the world. So the whole world is 1 trillion, and then 1 billion of 1% of 1 trillion is 10 billion. So there you have your calculations set for planting the trees. We're also relying on solar power up in the northern part of Saudi. We have wind turbines as well in the northern area. Now we're working, or some companies are working on other resources of energy, which is waste to energy. And then they would have a circular economy by doing that, a product that is from life until the end, it's still reused and recycled as a circular carbon economy. It's huge. I cannot answer you briefly, but I'm trying to think of the top answers that would, just give you a little bit of background about Saudi and how it is right now.
No, yeah, I love it. It was very insightful, and I'm actually very surprised for good. Like, I love how all these countries are taking the sustainability issue very seriously, and I love to see the work that Saudi Arabia and you are doing towards that.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
I have a question for Khulud. Well, first, nice meeting you virtually. My question is related to the conferences in Saudi. I know that there's a lot of conferences, but in terms of looking to a good one is kind of challenging. So what's your how would you do it when you try to search for a good conference, or is there any a particular website or anything in Saudi that it's famous for, news related to conferences?
So in order to answer your question, today actually I had another talk at World ESG Summit. This is the first ever that's been done here in Saudi for environmental, social, and governance discussions. My part was in the women in the sustainability and economic growth field. So as for the conferences, usually what I do personally is I try to find the conference that is closest to my goals and objectives. For example, I'm not interested in medicine, for example. So I wouldn't go there or apply to attend an event about a medical field. But in regards to environment, in regards to renewables, in regards to ESG standards, all of these topics that are an interest for me, I would try just to be on the radar. I would try to apply to attend, even if it was a virtual event, maybe. I try my best to be there, to be around, to know what's going, because these events usually have a high level of networking. So you would meet people from even Saudi, and that you never thought people would actually be specialized in this subject. And of course, the beauty of meeting everyone from around the world to come to these international or local events. As for the website that you were referring to, I can share with you, I can connect with you and share with you like an official website from a government entity where they have to publish all the conferences, exhibitions, panels, etc. Everything is somehow centralized in this website, because like they're the umbrella for events and conferences. But yeah, that's how I try to shoot for a conference.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, I have a question. What do you know now, like after graduation, based on your professional experience, what have you learned or what do you know now that you wish you had known while you were still a student at USF?
That's a tough question. um, I really can't think of a specific thing right now. Maybe because I really did an intensive research just before coming to USF. I remember that like 1 year before attending USF, I was literally searching where to live, types of apartments. Should I rent furniture in the beginning and then buy furniture? Because I know it's very easy in the US. You have all of these options. Should I live in a furniture apartment for a few months and then move to somewhere else? So I had all of these questions answered just because I did my research. I think now the information access is very easy nowadays. Everything is on the internet, and I used to have ex from my, I mean from my ex company, people who actually studied at MoMA College of Business. So they were also mentioning New Tampa.
Really?
Yes, and it was very eye-opening because I never thought like I would have someone telling me about places that I'm going to visit in, the next few months. Usually people probably would go to big cities or
Yeah.
bigger states, for example, the West Cali, Texas, New York, and so on. But for me, I think maybe one of the things would be like, for example, when I first moved in the States, um, I never knew that, you'll have to, when you walk alone, you're not supposed to have headphones. That was actually taught to us in our orientation day. So they told us never walk alone with headphones. If you're
Oh,
gonna walk alone,
really?
yes, just before the gated USF, these labels that they had it on. When I first moved, it wasn't gated, so everything was open. We used to
Mhm.
have a lot of issues going on, and then I think they realized that they need to gate it just for more security, and that really helped.
Huh.
Uh, but other than that, I don't think.
What
Uh,
about what about professionally? Like right now, you're in your career, you're a professional now. Was there something that you think now, oh, I didn't even realize that I could do this, back when I was in college, or I didn't realize how important it was to develop a skill in this area. Um, is there anything like that?
so professionally, I think sometimes, like especially in college years, whether it was bachelor or master's, like instructors used to really stress on not holding cards and reading from papers, reading from presentations, and so on. You just have to be very aware of the topic that you're going to speak about. And so that skill would be developed with time, that you're aware of the project inside and out so that you don't need to rely on these cards. Um, I think this really helped me back in the days in college years. But now during professional years, we don't really focus as much on what's on reading what's on the slides, but we actually have to speak more than what's written on slides. Maybe during the time at college years, we had a time constraint, like you have 5 minutes, pitch it, and then you're done. During the professional career, you won't you might, of course, have time constraints, but I mean, you won't have someone who would say, just pitch it and leave. There is room for discussion and negotiation. It's not a rigid style of giving a presentation, just like, you know, in college. But I get it. Sometimes we have to learn. And this, I think, really helped me with my even strengthening my own skills in just giving presentations and being comfortable enough and confident to speak in front of people from different backgrounds and about different topics.
Okay, that's a great example. Yeah, I think speaking publicly is kind of two-sided. It's on the one hand, being confident in the knowledge, you know, knowing your subject very well to the point where you don't need notes because you know what you're talking about, right? And then the other side is the public speaking part, like the comfort level of communicating with a large group of people. You could know everything about your project, but if you can't speak in front of a room, you know, you're going to have a problem, or vice versa. You can have your notes and written, but if someone asks you a question and you don't have that specific thing written down, very hard to give an answer, and then you also don't look great. So, so that's a good example. Okay, I have a question for everyone in the group. I want to open this up, especially for alumni and for students. Now we've built this, or we are building this network Saudi Arabia. It's new, you know, we're in still a startup phase. Um, but for me, it's very important that this actually serves you. I can make 100 global networks and we can make them all the same, but to me, that's absolutely pointless. You know, I think members of this network are going to want different things, are going to have different interests, are going to have different priorities than people in another network, like Network Brazil. It might be totally different what they're interested in doing. So I want to know from you, as an alum, as a student, you know, what do you want to get out of a network like this, and what are you interested in also putting into a network like this? Because a little bit of a give and take here. So what can you offer to other members, and what do you want to get out of this interconnected global network? Samia, do you want to go first? As a student, what are students looking for?
So, as a graduate student, I would always want to look for opportunities that shape my skills in terms of connecting professionally and try to connect in terms of research. I discussed that before because that's my main focus. That's what I'm looking for. Any opportunity that will me blend with others, with other majors, try to do something together and collaborate. So they would learn from me, I would learn from them. So any events that's related to the professional world at the moment, maybe when I graduate, it will be something else, but that's my thought for now.
Okay, so more profession focused, maybe even academic focused. Okay, understand. What about you, Claude?
For me, I think it's always nice that some like local universities have an exchange program for Saudis to go abroad. I think it's also interesting to have the vice versa, the other way, of you know, international students actually coming here to Saudi, witnessing the huge change, you know, fighting the stereotypes that we've faced. I personally faced, and I'm sure Samia maybe as well. But people might think that we have, you know, um, a fossil of oil just in my home, which is not true. Uh, People would think that we use camels to drive back and forth from work or commute, which is also not true. We do have big cities that are very modern right now. We're very ahead of other countries as well, but maybe people are not aware of that because, you know, just like I said, the media maybe is not showing that enough, or they're focusing on other subjects as well. But I think having probably like each semester few students would come here, whether they were graduates or undergraduates as well, because we know graduates, they do have like research topics to do, just like Samia and the rest. So if any specific topic would help Sami and her colleagues to reach that, knowledge, or getting that surveys out and so on, I think that would very much help so with the network of Saudi Arabia.
Oh, good. That's a great suggestion. For me, my dream would be that every network has a scholarship fund, and that is for inbound and outbound mobility. So for students from that country to come to USF, and we can support them or offer them some support. And then also for our students here from the US who want to go to Saudi Arabia for a study abroad or for a semester, for example, an exchange. So that's on my list of things to accomplish in building these global networks. So I'm glad at least I'm not too far off on what I'm hoping we can accomplish with this program. Does anybody else on the call want to ask a question? Before we sign off, I'm gonna ask everyone to turn their camera on. If you could, I just want to take a photograph, a snapshot of us all on this call. So I'll give you a couple of minutes. Let's see if you have any additional questions for anyone here. It's an open forum, and then we'll take a nice picture. I feel like a lot of people are in their cars. I keep seeing like flashes of like interior of vehicles. Oh, hello, Maha. Anybody else?
Studied in the States. That's how I think we found this connection between us. She's also a Florida student. Maha, if you want to just give
Yes, hopefully you can hear me well. I'm in my daughter's gymnastics class. So I actually studied my bachelor's degree in Florida International University in political science and a minor in media management. And then I completed my master's in Nova Southeastern University. So not far off, 45 minutes from Miami.
Yeah, very close.
I completed my master's in conflict analysis and resolution. And yeah, we crossed paths at our current company.
That's wonderful. Thank you for joining the call. I appreciate that.
Of course, anything to support.
All right. Mr. iPhone, I don't know your name. All I can see is iPhone, but you're driving, I think so.
Yeah, so I apologize. I'm Khulud's fiance, inshallah. How for us to get married. I met her at USF, actually. So
Oh,
I'm from
really?
Dubai. Yeah, I'm from Dubai and met her at USF. And I love her. Inshallah, we get married. Pray for us. I'm driving home from work, I swear to God.
Well, that's something we definitely have to celebrate. When is the wedding?
Inshallah, pray for us.
Okay.
Yeah, we're just finishing a few things, but hopefully this year is the year.
This year, huh?
Inshallah.
Wonderful.
But yeah,
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. So before Maha, you turn your camera off, let's do a quick snapshot.
With my USF shirt.
Beautiful. We'll throw up some of these horns
I'll
here.
let y'all know. 3, 2. Oh, wait. Okay, 3, 2, 1.
Good.
Perfect.
All right. Okay. Well, I really want to give a warm thank you for those of you who came. Khulud, you're obviously very loved. You have a lot of people here supporting you. It was really a pleasure to meet you. I hope that we can stay in touch. And if if there's any movement in terms of an exchange program with Saudi Arabia, I will definitely keep you posted. Or if you have any connections that you'd like to make, please don't be shy. Please don't hesitate to reach out. And Sami, you're here in Tampa. If you have any requests, if you have particular alumni that you want to meet with, I can do all kinds of different filters, like where they are, what kind of company they work for, what kind of industry they work for. We're more than happy to help you make the kind of professional and academic connections that you're looking for.
Thank you. Yeah, I would like to connect with the ladies. because they're professional and I like people who inspires me like them. So that will be a good opportunity to connect with them.
Okay. Yeah, I did invite a lot of women to this event. I was hoping we could get some more. I think it's not something that people are used to probably. So I think we'll try it again and we'll try to get maybe with more time, better participation. But I'm not going to give up. We're gonna put together a good group.
Of course. Thank you so
Okay.
much.
I'm
And
going
we
to put, oh, you already put my email in there. Thank you. I'm gonna put I'm gonna put my LinkedIn profile link in here in case anybody wants to connect me. My email address is already there. So don't be a stranger. Okay. And thank you all so much for your time and for your participation. Appreciate it.
thank you so much.
Okay.
Everyone.
Goodbye.
Bye.